Welcome everyone. So our practice this time will be a little bit longer. We'll focus on creating a bit more heat in the body and bringing some stability. Let's start by finding a comfortable seat. So just as in the first short practice, things you might find helpful, a mat if you have it. If not, you can be on the floor, you could put a blanket or a rug down. Sitting on something might be helpful. I'm sitting on a blanket, but a towel or pillow, anything like that's great. You may find blocks or equivalent, books work great, are helpful. And the other would be a strap, which we may or may not use, or even just a belt, that works great also. So let's start by finding a nice comfortable seat to center ourselves. So you can close your eyes or you can focus them on a point. As you feel your body start to settle, give your mind permission to do the same. And invite your breath into the bottom of the lungs. You want to feel the diaphragm engage. So when you breathe in, your rib cage should feel similar to an accordion. The sides of the ribs should reach out toward the arms. The exhale should allow them just to soften inward. And unless you're stuffy, breathe in and out through the nose. So take a few more full diaphragmatic breaths here. And you can allow those spaces in the body where you hold your tension to start to soften with your exhale. Continue to keep your breath wide and low as often as you can. If your eyes are closed, open them the next time you breathe in. Bring your hands together to heart center. Lift the arms up and overhead. Separate the hands and then bend at the elbows. Take your thumbs behind you. Breathe in to lift up. This time with the exhale, round the body, reach forward. Inhale to lift. Gaze up this time as you exhale. Gaze forward or down, bend the elbows. Breathe in to lift, round the body again. And then last time creating lift and length. Maybe creating a little bit of a back bend as you come into it this time. And then come upright to center. Release the arms all the way down. Uncross the legs. Bring your feet over to your right side. And then just wrap the hands around the body. Give yourself just a gentle Bharadvajasana twist. So you could gaze behind you. You could gaze out in front. Maybe release the twist the other way, kind of counter twist. Go back and forth a couple times. And then come to center, switch sides. So feet over to one side, hips to the other. Reach and wrap around the legs, giving yourself an open twist. Look behind you. And then look out in front And you can let the torso move with you or not, but do that again. Nice, and then come back to center. Bring your feet down to the mat, rock yourself forward. If you were sitting on something, take it out from underneath. You may find some type of prop is helpful in front of you. Hands could find that or the floor, but step your feet to a nice wide straddle. So maybe initially you start with the outer edges of the feet parallel to the short sides of the mat, and you can do some side lunging action. Side to side a few times. And then switch the direction of the feet. So point your toes out, heels slightly in, go side to side. Just kind of notice how your body responds to just changing your feet. And then one last option, toes in, heels out. You won't have as much movement in the knees here, or most bodies won't. But do some side to side. And then pause in the middle and a deep bend into your knees. Walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. You can take a prop with you. So here, as you start to find a lunge, usually you'll know if it might be helpful to have your hands on something. If the floor feels like a distance, try some type of prop. So add a deep bend into your front knee. Let the back knee start to come down. Nice. And then straighten both legs, round the back. So let's do this again. Deep bend into the front knee, maybe a dip into the back knee, this time inviting a little lift into the heart. And then when you exhale, start to come back. You're straightening and rounding. Do a third one. And all of these movements, let your body find variations that work for you. So the next time that you come into a bit of a lunge action, pause here. So if you're using props, you may want to sneak them back, or hands could come down. But let's play with some rainbowing movements with the front leg. So face your front toes out to the side and then to center. So I'm showing you with my hand what I'm doing too. And then internal. Back to the front. So go through each of these twice. So you're externally rotating, kind of more forward, semi-neutral, and then internally. Nice. Come back to the front, pause here, sneak your back foot forward and lift your chest up right. So take the arms overhead. So you're in a little bit of a high lunge action. So from your high lunge, add a deep dip into the back knee and then lift. Take your back foot, cross it over. Add a deep dip, straighten, and then take it out, maybe out to the width of the mat. Deep dip. Come back to center. Take a moment here. Feel as if you're pressing into the floor and trying to pull the mat apart. Hinge and come forward with or without props. Bring your hands down to the ground. Line up the creases of your wrists with the short side of your mat. Step your front foot back. Find downward facing dog. So the hip hinge is the key action in the pose. You may find pedaling the feet feels nice, or playing with bending both knees and straightening. Just bring some type of movement into the position so you can warm up the body a bit more. Next time that you can gaze forward, step your right foot through your hands, coming back to runner's lunge. You can take props with you or not, but pivot yourself through straddle just to come to the other side of the mat. So with or without the props, we'll give those same movements to this side. So start with a bit of a bend into the knee. And then you can straighten, maybe rounding the back a little bit. So it's any position that works for you, props or not, but you're going back and forth from a lunge to some type of straightening and rounding. And then the next time that you come forward and you find your regular lunge, play with different rotations with the front foot and knee. So first, toes out, so you're externally rotating, add a deep bend, then center, then internal, center, Go through these one more time. And once you're back to center after this one, palms up. I wanted to skip high lunge on this side. Step your back foot forward, lift your heart all the way upright, come to high lunge. So if you have a side in your body that's resistant, you're not alone, you're human. So first find a bit of a high lunge action, and then add a little bit of a dip into the back knee. Lift, and then cross over, dip. Come back to center, and then go wide. Now come back to your high lunge, and pause for a moment. So you're pressing down, feeling like you're trying to pull the mat apart as you lift and lengthen. Hinge and come forward. Press your palms into the floor, lining up the creases of the wrists with the short end of your mat. Step your front foot back. Come to Adho Mukha Svanasana, or downward facing dog. So you can pedal the feet. You could play with some other movements. If your body is craving some twisting type movements, maybe you want to play with one hand reaching across. If you do that, try it on the other side. Maybe you want to play with some wide-legged downward dog. Knees could be bent or not. Just explore movements that might feel good. And then after another breath or so, pause, add a deep bend into both knees, gaze up between the hands, step your left foot through your hands, coming through runner's lunge, but this time come all the way up to standing. And you can start to pivot your feet toward the front. So toes in position of choice for you, but legs are strong and straight. Take your arms up to a Y. So feel rooting through your feet up and out through the arms. Take another moment just lifting and reaching. And now face the palms in. Turn your right foot out to the side. Add a deep bend into your right knee. Open your arms out to T. Or Virabhadrasana 2 or Warrior 2 pose. So maybe you want to gaze behind you. Gaze out in front of you. Find a position where your body is working, but it's not to the point where you're straining. And that's going to look different for each of us. For some, that's going to mean bringing the stance in, so shortening the distance between the feet. For others, you're going to go longer. As you root through the feet, reach through the arms. Invite length through the spine and that nice full breath, full diaphragmatic breath. On your next exhale, reverse the arms. So release the left hand behind you, reach the right arm up and overhead. When you exhale, start to reach forward, create some dynamic movements. So come back through Warrior 2, kind of reaching back. Do that again. The next time that you reach over your front leg, pause there. You can bring the forearm to the thigh. The upper arm could lift overhead. You could sweep it overhead. Pull through cactus. Take it behind you. That is up to you. But as you explore Utthita Parshvakonasana, or lateral angle pose, keep that same idea of kind of rooting through the feet. Try not to mash on your front thigh. If you find that this is not enough work for the body, you can always bring the front hand down to your block. You can also bring it all the way down toward the floor. But take a couple moments to explore your lateral angle pose, gazing where it works for your neck. Nice. On your inhale, reverse, this time straightening your front leg as you reverse. And then take yourself back through T, lift your back heel, swivel. So you're coming back to a high lunge action. This time in our high lunge, we'll find a humble warrior. So feel some reaching through the feet. Clasp your hands together with hands like a basket. So the heels of the hands are apart. Bring your heart forward, lift the arms, relax the head. Try not to fall. Release anything that needs to leave you out through the top of your head. Start to press through the back foot. Release the arms down to your back. Straighten the front leg. Lift your heart part way. So this will take you into a little bit of a Parsvottanasana. So both legs will be straight here. Hinge at the hip creases. Come forward. With your inhale, lift up. So do this a couple times. So you're coming forward maybe on the exhale. Your hands could be behind you if that feels like too much or your balance is feeling challenged on this side. You can also reach down for a prop or for the leg. Third or fourth time that you come forward, pause here. So you could keep the hands behind you. If you're wanting a challenge and you have some type of weight or even blocks, you can press those up behind you. So those are additional options to make it more challenging. If this is plenty challenging, reach down for the floor or add a little bit of a bend or a prop, or add a bend into the front knee. So one more variation in our pose before we leave it on this side. Let's lift the ball of the foot on the front foot. And really reach out through the toes. Press the foot down. Deep bend into the front knee. Lift yourself up through pivot. First pausing here in the center. Take the arms out. Find a bit of a Y. So you're reaching down through feet, lifting, reaching out through the arms. Relax the muscles in your face. Maybe bring a little bit of a smile to the face. Appreciate that your body can do what it can do today. Lower the arms down, relax your shoulders up and back. Turn your left foot out to the side. Start to bend into this knee and then pull it back. Let's lift the arms, bend into the front knee, open them out to a T. Palms could be up, forward, down, whatever feels more stable for you. But start to explore Warrior Two on the second side. I like to explore looking from side to side. You can see if that feels good for you. And then find a point to focus on. And feel the strength of your body. So feel the rooting down through the feet, the lifting up through the heart, a full breath. Take another full breath where you are. Nice. Let's reverse the arms. So reach to the right arm, lift and extend through the front, and then start to hinge. Let's bring some kind of swirling movements into the arms as you go back and forth a couple times. Or a few times. The next time that you hinge and reach over, maybe bring the forearm to the thigh. Upper arm could lift, it could sweep, it could pull through cactus or come behind you. Any position that invites length in your lateral angle pose. If you catch yourself mashing that thigh, lift the arm, ask the body to do more of the work, or play with some type of prop, or reach down to the floor so you can explore all those different options for you on this side to see which one feels right for you. On the inhale, reverse your arms. You can straighten the front leg this time as you reverse. And then lower that arm. Lift your back heel, swivel. So you're kind of pivoting on that to bring yourself back to a bit of a lunge. So add a deep bend into the front knee. Let's press the hands back this time. And then roll the shoulders in. So face palms toward each other to clasp your fingers together, kind of leaving the heels of the hands apart. With your next exhale, hinge forward, coming into a humble warrior. So arms can lift, head can relax. Invite tension to release out through the top of the head. Let go of the arms. Reach down. You can find some type of prop or the leg, or keep the arms behind you, but straighten the front leg. Lift yourself part way. Hinge. And then lift up. Do this again. So you may find that both feet are planted here. You might find that you have one that's lifting. Adjust the feet so it's approachable for your body on this side. So the next time that you hinge, pause here. I'm coming into Parshvottanasana or pyramid pose. So you could keep both legs straight. If you're finding that the back of this thigh is really complaining, you're welcome to bend and straighten a few times. If you find that it feels uncomfortable to hold the spine here, you could allow it to round. Bring a little spinal flexion. The arms are lifting, lower them. Bend into your front knee, lift your heart upright, pivot, face the wide angle of the mat again. Take the arms out. Let's come back to kind of that star pose one more time. So as you reach through the feet, lift out through the arms. Take a deep breath of gratitude into the heart. Allow it to fill with that, whatever type of gratitude that first came to you for your life today. Lower the arms all the way down by your side. Roll your shoulders up and back, and then slow heel toe your feet into the center of the mat. So when your feet are about hip width distance apart, maybe march in place to find kind of the most aligned space for your feet, and then roll your shoulders back and find a Tadasana pose in your body today, or mountain pose. So this isn't one that's rigid. It's not meant to be perfect. It's one that's rooted through the feet, and from that place, finding lift and length through the body and inviting your best alignment today. Focus your eyes on a point. Take just another breath here. Notice if you're gripping or holding anywhere in the body. You can let that go. Nice. We're going to sneak into a few balance poses. You're welcome to watch me first, so that you don't feel like you have to watch me at the same time. So we'll stay rooted through the left foot to begin. We'll bring the right knee up to the chest. You could clasp your hands underneath the thigh or in front of the shin, and most will find it helpful to keep the eyes focused on a point throughout. So you'll first squeeze the knee up high toward the chest, and you'll pause there. Maybe you want to circle the ankle a couple times. And then with the knee squeezing up nice and high, you can explore twisting. So maybe you twist the knee across the body, and same hand as the knee you crossed could reach behind you. If you're feeling like your balance is fairly stable today, you could look behind you or out in front. If this feels like, this is fairly approachable, you could explore straightening the leg. I forgot to have a scrap or strap. That too is an option. So you could have the strap around the foot, and you could straighten the leg holding onto the strap. Another option would be to hold onto the foot. So you're crossing the leg over the body. You're looking where it works for you. And then you'll come back to center, still pausing on the same leg. Add a quarter of a circle at the hip socket. And this could be holding onto the knee or the shin or the strap. And then you'll see, maybe this is plenty. Maybe the opposite arm wants to reach out or overhead, or maybe you want to straighten the leg, holding on to any of those points. Once you feel like you've explored the crossing over, the opening out to the side, one last movement, and that's just going forward. So those same options apply. You could be holding underneath the thigh. You could hold on to your strap or your belt. You could hold on to the foot. But you'll hold for a breath or two, and then let go of how you're holding on. Take the arms overhead and we'll hold for 10, 9, 8. We'll go all the way down to 1. So you got a little preview of it. Let's do it again together on each side. So you saw if the strap seems like it's something that would be approachable, grab something that you can use. A shirt also works. But let's start with the right foot being the balancing foot. Bring your left knee up to your chest. Hands could clasp underneath the thigh or in front of the shin as you squeeze in and find stability. So as you find that rooting through your standing foot, and you're still encouraging length without rigidity in the body, invite your breath to stay full. Just going to start to explore a bit of a twist. So you're crossing the knee over the body. Maybe the arm is reaching behind you. Maybe you're looking with it, maybe you're not. You could explore straightening the leg. You could use the strap on the foot or hold on to the foot depending on what this side is able to do. I reached back and grabbed the wall. If you're close to one and it's helpful, use it. And then come back through center with the knee bent or not. Add a little bit of a quarter circle at the hip socket. Opposite hand, you may want to hold on or reach into the air. You'll know what feels right for your balance, or hold on to the wall. And then if it feels right for this side, straighten the leg in any way that feels right for you. If it does not feel right, of course, ignore that. You can work back through a bent knee, come back to center, and then go forward. And now let go of holding on. Hold the leg in the air with arms where they're helpful for you for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release this side down. With both feet on the ground, lift up through both arms. Give yourself a standing back bend. Come up to center, lower the arms down. Let's play with this on the other side. Left foot will be your balancing foot, with or without strap, or some type of prop. Bring knee into the chest. And then explore crossing over. So you're crossing over the body for you guys. Your right knee is going over to the left. And you could explore whatever arm option helps you to maintain balance. If you want to play with straightening the leg, you can. Come back through bent, come to the center, and then quarter circle going to the outside. So now it would be same hand holding on to knee, thigh, shin, strap. Opposite hand is doing what it needs to do to keep you upright. And you can straighten the leg. So Urdhva Hasta Padangusthasana, upright catching the big toe pose. And then come through a bent knee, come back to center, and now straighten the leg right out in front of you. Now let go of how you're holding on. Keep the leg in the air, arms where they help you, and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release this foot down, root through the feet, lift up and out through the whole body, reach back for a standing back bend. Bring yourself up to center, lower the arms all the way down by your side. Relax the shoulders up and back. Let's face ourselves over to the left side of the mat. So feet hip width or wider or even closer. But feel some spreading of the toes, rooting through 3 points of the feet, mounds of the big and pinky toes, center of the heels. Take the arms, reach them overhead. Bend into your knees, sit back into your seat. So exploring a little bit of an Utkatasana or a chair pose. And then straighten. Do this again. Bend, sit back, This time, reach all the way forward. So your hands could hold on to anything that's in front of you that works. But walk your feet apart, maybe to the width of the mat. So those that came to class know that I am a big fan of full squats, so it's important for the whole body. If you've had knee or ankle issues in the past, I would definitely recommend some type of prop underneath the heels. If you're not sure and haven't done one in a while, you may find that's helpful. The other option would be just to lift the heels or no prop. So it's all up to your body. And in any of those options, bend your knees, sit back, find a bit of a full squat. And if you have some type of prop or without, explore taking the arms overhead. And then if you're using a prop, take it back down, lift the hips. If you found that you really were appreciating or needing some type of something underneath the feet, give that to yourself. We're going to do this 2 more times. So hands out in front, in the air or down low, deep bend into your knees, find your full squat. Lifting the arms is too much, of course, drop it out. And then reach down, lift. Last one, deep bend into your knees, find your squat. If you feel pain in joints, that's always a sign to pull back. Muscles have a different story. Nice. Bring your hands out in front of you and then start to step your feet back, but this time we will lower into plank. So let the heart come forward. Hips are lower than the shoulders. Press back through the feet and feel like you're pressing the floor away from you. Come down to your knees. This time press your hips all the way back to your heels for Bhaktasana or devotion. So knees and feet in position of comfort, head and heart can relax toward the floor. Take another full breath here. Then walk your arms over to your right side. Take a deep breath into the left side. Switch. And then bring the arms back overhead. Lift yourself into your neutral table position. And then we'll come on to the left hip. So we're going to do some variations of side plank. And we'll start with kind of one hand down, and you can face it wherever it works for your shoulder. And we'll start first with kind of feet tucked up close. One of the things I found to be helpful is to bring something into the upper arm. So the one that's going to be in the air, and this could be anything you can grab. Just find it informs the body in a different way. So press through the bottom hand, lift the hips, and then lift through that upper arm. So you could gaze down, gaze up, see what that feels like. With an exhale, top arm swings underneath. Inhale to lift. Do this a couple more times. And if you find that you're like, this isn't really challenging me, lift the top leg. If you find that wasn't enough of a challenge, take both feet out and approach it from a side plank. The next time that you finish that last one, pause, lift and lengthen. And you could also kind of do a hybrid like I'm showing. And then release the top hand down. Bring yourself onto the sides. You're kind of in a one knee table type variation. Lift through the leg. So for you guys, your right one. And then start to lift that side of the pelvis. And then face it back down. Maybe let it dip. Do this again. Third time. And then once you're back to more of your neutral table, walk your hands out in front of you. Hinge at the hips for Anahatasana. It's similar to a downward dog on your knees. Head can come down to the ground. It's heart pose. Let your heart sink into the mat. Lift yourself up through center. Bring yourself all the way upright, and then let's give this to the other side. So have some type of prop on the side. We'll come down into the right hip for you guys. Find a firm plant into the palm. Feet can kind of be tucked behind to start. So lift through the hips, lift through your other arm. Pause here, just see how your body responds to this. And then you can try kind of a swinging through and under once. That wasn't enough. Lift the top leg as you do the second one. If you're like that's still not quite enough of a challenge, come to your side plank. You can also explore lifting a leg. That adds another element of challenge. And then you can bring that down. Bring your knee down here, and then lift the leg. Other side for you guys, I apologize. So you're lifting the leg, the one that you didn't do, and then you'll lift that side of the pelvis and bring it down. Maybe even let it sink. Do that a couple times. I kept my hand on the block the last time. You could do that, or you could bring it flat to the floor. It's however it works for you. But maybe third times, you're kind of consciously dropping, and then you're lifting, moving back. Curl the toes underneath. Step your feet back, explore plank, and then come down to your knees. Revisit Anahatasana. Hands can come forward, hinging at the hips. Forehead can melt down to the ground. Bring your heart forward. Lift the knees once more, and then walk the hands back. Bend your elbows and lower yourself down to the floor. So once you're on the floor, bring your hands down by your side. You can have the toes curled, or you can point through the feet. Could be chin, nose, or forehead on the floor. It could even be hands stacked, so depending on what your neck is telling you that it needs. We'll do some variations of locust and half locust and go into some cobra variations. Let's lift the right leg. So pelvis is still in contact with the floor. You've just lifted the right leg. Press it down, lift the left. Press it down, try both. Bring them back down. Now come back to the right. And you're still keeping the upper body down. I'm lifting mine just so that you guys can hear me. And then take your right leg out to the side and bring it back in. Do this again. Once it's back to center, release it down. Same thing for the other side. So you can switch your arms like I did. You can do whatever works for the upper body, but head will be down unless you're trying to talk into the phone. So take the leg out and bring it back in. Repeat this a couple times. Nice, release it down. Now, hands, bring them down by your side, grab for outer thighs or clasp them together behind you, but keep the legs rooted this time and lift through the heart. So bringing you into a little bit different variation of half locust or Ardha Shalabhasana. Let's play with the gaze and strengthen the neck and the upper body. So bring your chin down toward your chest. Lift the heart, gaze forward, and then slightly up. So it's a slow progression. Do that again. So heart stays lifting. You're just strengthening the muscles in the neck and the head. And then find a comfortable gaze where your neck is toward neutral. And now lift the right leg and then the left. So you're bringing your body into full locust. Finding extension out through the whole body. Keep the upper body lifted. Release the feet down. Bring your hands down by your rib cage. So elbows hug in, heart lifts, shoulders are down. For Bhujangasana or Cobra, you can challenge yourself by lifting the hands to see how much that the arms are helping. Lower yourself all the way down to the floor. Bring your palms down by your side. Turn your head to one side and melt. Lift your head, turn and look to the other side, melt on your other side. Bring tendons or forehead back to the mat. Lift the heart part way. And then take your left arm underneath you. Right arm can come forward for just a moment. Squeeze your left or your right heel up toward the buttock. And then start to reach in the air for it. So same hand, same leg, but don't grab it yet. So notice what your body's wanting to do. So most of ours are going to just sink into that side. See if you can find counterbalance. So you're reaching, if it feels accessible, grab for the ankle or the top of the foot and start to press into that hand. Using the leg to kind of bring some different resistance into the body. And then switch. So start by squeezing the heel up, or toes can point, whichever feels more stable in your body. And then now take the other hand, start to reach back, and if you catch that kind of sinking, counter that. And then you could grab onto a pant leg or the leg if it's accessible. If it's not, you're just holding into the air. You could grab the strap too. And now bring a little resistance so the leg is kind of pressing into the hand. And then lower back down. So one more option, if it works for your body, is to approach both legs. So Dhanurasana. So you bend into the knees. Feet could be pointed, or they could be pointing to the ceiling or pointing behind you. But arms can reach behind you. So start to lift through the heart. And then you could challenge yourself to hold here. For most of our bodies, this is actually harder than reaching for the feet. If it feels accessible, you can grab ankles or feet. You can kind of press back as you lift the heart. You can gaze where it feels most comfortable for your body. And then lower yourself all the way back down. Stack hands on top of themselves. Bring your knees out to about hip width, or mat width, I mean. And do some reverse windshield wipers. So feet can just release to one side and then the other. And then you can bring your knees into hip width, curl your toes underneath, lift the thighs, lift the knees, and then release them back down. Roll yourself onto your back. Grab a prop for this one if possible. This is again kind of a block or a book. And then you're going to bring it either at the knee or thigh level or even at the calf level, depending on which you prefer. But let's start with our knees bent. And so arms can be in position of choice for you. Cactus, overhead, T, even by your side. But find a place that the arms are helping to keep your upper body stabilized, but not to create tension in the neck. So fully release your next breath. Take another full breath. So allow it to be natural. So you're resisting any kind of gripping or pressing of the lower back or any kind of manipulation of the body. Trust that your body has the strength. So on an inhale, first we'll just straighten the legs. And then each time we exert on the inhale. So inhale to lower a third of the way and pause. Another third of the way. One more. And then with your next breath in, lift. Let's change our feet. So turn your toes out. I'm making kind of a wide V shape. With an inhale, Lower third of the way. So slow yogi leg lifts. Another third on your next inhale. Once more. And then lift. One more foot position. So now this one's kind of awkward. Toes in, heels out. So with your inhale, lower a third. And then another third. Last third. Breathe in to lift up. Take your prop off to the side. Bring your feet down to the ground. Take your arms overhead. Separate your feet about mat width and do some windshield wipers for the knees. So you can release to one side and then the other. Do that a couple times. Nice. Take your knees up towards your chest. Grab for the backs of the thighs. Give them a good squeeze. And then straighten the legs somewhat. Doesn't have to be all the way. And bend. Do that again. Nice. Then you can bring your feet down to the mat. So plant the feet, lift the hips, bring your arms underneath you and hook your thumbs together. Release the hips back down wherever they meet arms or wrists. You can unhook the thumbs, outstretch the legs. So either point toes out or up toward the ceiling, but tuck your arms deeply under your body. So on your inhale, press into the forearms, lift your heart, look out at your toes. Continue to lift the chest, and then slowly lift the gaze. Your gaze could pause here, or you could slowly look back, slow being the key word. You could also slide back toward your elbows until the top of the head barely meets the mat. So 90% of your weight is below the head here, so you're not letting a bunch of pressure into the head in Matsyasana or simple fish. Take a couple breaths, expanding the heart space, softening the throat. To come out of the pose, root through the arms, lift the head and then the heart, look out at your feet. Slide yourself back down to the ground. Take your arms out from underneath you. Bring your right knee up toward the chest. Clasp your hands around the shin or the back of the thigh. Give it a good squeeze. And if available, you can take the knee from side to side, kind of massaging this hip socket. And then bring your right arm either out to cactus or to T. With the knee squeezing up toward the chest, start to turn it into a twist. So you're crossing the knee over the body. And you can straighten this leg. Your hand could support it. If you've had a prop available and it wants to rest on that, that's available. You could also grab onto the foot or use a strap. Lots of options here. Gaze over your right side. And you can gaze out over your outstretched leg. You could keep it straight, or you could add a bend, unwind, coming back to the center, let go of it, and do some big circles. And then release that leg. Bring your left knee in. So if you're like me and you're going to run out of space, you can shift yourself over to the other side of the mat. But bring your left knee in toward the chest. Maybe clasp hands around it. Do some circling or moving and massaging this hip socket. And then you can pause in the middle, left arm cactus or out to T. Let's start to cross this leg over the body. So keeping it bent or straightening, maybe gazing away from the knee. You can allow this rotation to be as shallow or as deep as is available for you right now. Gaze up toward the ceiling. Unwind from your twist. And then let go of it and bring some movements in to the side without you holding on. Press this foot down. Stretch both legs out in front, or out to the end of your mat, I meant to say. And you can wave your feet from side to side. A couple more things while we're on our back before we rest. Take the arms overhead. So with your fingers stretching up, let your shoulders come off the mat. Notice what that feels like. And now root your shoulders down in a way where you feel stable, but you're not rigid. And with that place of stability, take the arms overhead. So we'll all have a different place where our arms feel like they can go. Some will have different gradients. But while keeping the shoulder blades rooted, lift arms up, let them kind of graze by the legs, and then do this again. Up and over. Last time. This time as they go overhead, change your palms. So let the backs of the hands come down. And a lot of our arms here will bend. Whatever works for your body, let that happen. But just allow the shoulders and the arms to kind of sink. Allowing the arms to stay where they are. Bring your knees up toward your chest. And together, let the knees do a circle in each direction. Massage the lower back and the hip area. And then take your right ankle, cross it over the left knee. Right hand can go between the legs. Both hands can clasp around your left shin or behind the thigh for a figure 4. So you could be pointing or dorsiflex, whatever's working for the ankle. But squeeze the legs in toward you. With your inhale, bring your heart toward your legs. Lower back down. Let the hands release out to cactus or T. Keep legs in your figure 4 for a figure 4 stretch. So lead with your right foot. Let it come over, maybe at an angle. So working different areas of the spine. And then you can gaze over to your right arm. Unwind, kind of counter this. So you're just letting that right thigh and knee kind of go over to the side. And then uncross, recross the other way. So left ankle's over, slide your left hand between, hands can clasp around right shin or thigh. So the legs kind of press away, pause. And then you can squeeze them toward you. Depending on arm length, you may be able to get a little leverage to kind of press that left leg away. Bring your heart toward your thighs. Lower back down. Let go of how you're holding on. And give yourself, it's a bit of an angled kind of figure 4 twist. Unwind, just counter that twist. So you're just going back out to the left. And then unwind to center, uncross the legs, stretch the legs up toward the ceiling, circle the ankles a couple times, really work the toes as you do this. Go the other way. And then point your toes toward your torso in some way. So it's like your heels are trying to lift the roof. Point the toes up, like the tips of the toes are trying to lift the roof. insides of the feet together. Try to wrap your feet around, almost like a prayer position for the feet. And then reverse that. So I think of this as creating kind of a mushroom shape or a dome shape with the feet. So the insides of the feet lift, outsides of the feet try to pull down. And then any last little movements or wiggles that your body needs. Take your legs out to the end of the mat. So a full practice should always start to end with Shavasana, or the corpse pose, which is the most important pose you do if you have the time for a full practice, because it's an opportunity for you to fully absorb the benefits. And close the eyes and allow your bones to just sink into the mat. Let them feel heavy. For the next few moments, simply observe your breath, your process of releasing into Shavasana, or the corpse pose. And start to bring a little movement into the fingers and toes. Stretch the arms overhead. Lengthen your body with your breath. Roll yourself over to one side. And then press yourself upright to the seated position. Once you're sitting up nice and tall, roll your shoulders back, bring your hands out to the side. Take your chin forward, and then pull your chin back, making multiple chins. Lift up through the back of the head for a head ramp. Do that again. Bring yourself to center. Turn your head to your right. Center to your left. Back to center. Lift up through the crown of the head. Take your left ear up and over toward your left shoulder. So you may need to kind of drop that shoulder. You might find it helpful to walk the arm out. You can also lift with the opposite arm if that feels good. And then tilt the head so chin faces down toward your left shoulder. Bring the ear back to the shoulder. Continue the tilt. So it's like your chin and your nose are starting to face up and slightly right. Bring the ear back over. Lift your head up to center and then switch. It's like you're making a big arc up and over, right ear toward the right shoulder. And you can play with whatever equation of movements with the arms helps release tension in the neck. And then tilt, chin faces down toward the right shoulder. Bring the ear back and then continue the tilt. So chin and nose are kind of facing up and over to your left. The ear back over to the side. Lift your head up to center. Take both hands behind you. So hands can kind of brace the base of the skull and just give yourself a little lift. And then with that lift, tip your head forward. Lift through the heart. Let the head lift up. Elbows can kind of float back. At some point this will feel awkward. When that happens, release the hands. Continue to look up. Open your mouth, relax your jaw, and stick out your tongue. Close the mouth. Bring your head back to center. Bring your palms together to your heart. Take a full breath of gratitude into your heart for one thing in your life today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means peace. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. Have a beautiful rest of your day.